Good day, everybody. This is your Hillbilly Historian coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee. Today, I want to talk a little bit about tariffs. Trump has made tariffs come to the forefront of the news, and he's one of the few people in America who really understand the value of tariffs. Tariffs. All tariffs are is a fee that a foreign company pays to the U.S. government for the right to sell their products here in the United States. Now, tariffs are a good thing to protect American manufacturing. That way, foreign companies with real cheap labor can't undersell American products. The South always favored low tariffs so they could buy these cheap foreign-made goods for their homes and their businesses and whatever. The northern states, where most of the manufacturing was taking place, favored high tariffs to protect their products from these cheap labor, foreign-made goods that they want to sell here in the United States. Because the United States has got one of the best markets in the world for selling stuff. Because everybody has pocket money in the United States, and they buy a lot of stuff. Now, this tariff situation used to, it was the main income for our U.S. government. Now, they got tolls on roads, they got fees in ports, stuff like that. To use government-made facilities like highways, seaports, stuff like that. They would charge fees for that. But tariffs is where the government got most of its money. And up until 1916, the U.S. government paid every bill primarily with money from tariffs. And our government brought in so much money from tariffs back in the late 1800s. They used to hold committee meetings to decide what to do with all that extra money they were bringing in. Then some strange things began to happen. For one, people in the United States never had to pay income tax. Income tax was tried 3 times. Lincoln tried it twice. Then it was tried one other time. And the Supreme Court threw it out every time. So, banks, world banks, the largest banks in the world, held a secret meeting at Jekyll Island, Georgia, 1913, and came up with a plan to steal the American wealth. That's what banks do. They're into taking your money and taking it through any method of theft they can come up with. I know when I was young, banks used to pay you interest. If you put your money in a checking account, especially a savings account, you drew like 5-6% interest on that money. And today, no, In fact, I don't even know if they have savings accounts anymore. Uh, I think you can buy bonds and stuff like that, but uh, they don't have these savings accounts that pay you for keeping your money in a bank. Uh, no more. Now they just fee here, fee there, fee this, fee that, and you get nothing back except a service. You know, you can write checks, have bank cards and stuff like that. But you don't. Banks are out there to take your money, and they provide a little bit of a service for it. And you drive through towns today, banks are the ones, banks, churches, and governments are the ones that have all the new buildings now. Fast food, stuff like that. But anyway, back to tariffs. Banks decided to steal American wealth in 1913, so they conned the American people into passing an amendment to the Constitution which would allow the government to collect an income tax. And that was a big mistake on the part of the American people. Of course, back around 1916 when they passed that, average income was about $1,000 a year, and you didn't have to pay income tax till you earned at least $4,000 a year. That's how they conned you into it to begin with. But they had a Marxist in the Wilson's government, Cordell Hull from Jamestown, Tennessee. Cordell Hull was a brainwashed communist Marxist who gave us the Frederick Engels and Karl Marx's graduate income tax, which penalizes the harder workers, the hardworking people, and it favors the mob, the low end of the people who are the mob, who don't work, who don't earn, who don't give, who don't provide, who live off the government and everything. That's your mob. And of course, the communist system gets our power. Communism gets its power from the mob. And that's what Cordell Hull gave to the United States, the graduated income tax system, in 1916. And the burden of the government's bills were switched from foreign companies that want to sell their products here in the United States, best market in the world, to the real working man of America. The whole thing was shifted from the backs of foreign companies and countries to the American working man, who used to get to keep his money. And they really began to rob the American people. And of course, the banks in 1913 came up with this idea of not only the income tax, but the Federal Reserve, where they could loan the American government money for social programs and public projects and stuff like building dams and roads and stuff. They'd borrow the money from the Federal Reserve, which is not federal, it's not a reserve, it was an organization set up with these banks to loan the American people money and draw huge interest from the American people. It'll be paid by the American people. And today, our politicians have taken so much advantage of this that we owe more money. We owe billions and billions of money is just a total waste. And it's just absolutely amazing the amount of money that banks are now stealing from the people. And then you have these events like 2008, 2009, where they bail out the banks, too big to fail, all that garbage, and they steal trillions more from the American people. It's amazing what we let our banks get away with. But so many of our government people are getting rich from the pennies that these companies and these banks throw at our politicians to make sure they always go their way. But anyway, tariffs. Our government began to lower these tariffs. Businesses got our companies, our government, to lower the tariffs in this country to the point where basically our government wasn't collecting anything from tariffs anymore. They were getting everything off the backs of the working man, the earners. And our businesses took advantage of these low tariffs. They moved their manufacturing to these foreign countries, like started out places like Mexico and Puerto Rico and places like that, where they could work people for practically nothing. So they were taking advantage of that foreign cheap labor and then selling the products back here in the United States with little or no tariffs, and the American taxpayer was paying for our government's expenses and costs instead of tariffs. Now Trump comes along. He wants to recorrect this error that was made back in 1913, 1916. Cordell Hull and Woodrow Wilson and their communist backers and supporters, deep state communists, Marxists, which are real strong in Washington even today. But anyway, Trump is trying to correct this tariff situation to where our country begins to pay its bills through collection of tariffs. And even Trump has the idea that we can pay off this multi-trillion-dollar debt through collection of tariffs. And I agree with him. And I think tariffs are a good way for our government to raise money to pay off our national debt and other programs to make America even richer than it is now. So there you go. That's my lesson today about tariffs, which were a good thing and will be a good thing in the future through presidents like Trump and the people in the MAGA movement. And therefore, Trump and his idea on tariffs, because Trump is a good businessman, a smart businessman. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to make people pay their fair share. That fair share is something that liberal, Democrat, deep state Marxists like to throw around up there in D.C. You know, nobody is above the law and everybody pays their fair share. You hear that out of the Marxists until the law comes after them, then all of a sudden, oh no! And then until they have to pay their fair share, and then, oh no! They want to milk everything and not pay and not earn and not collect and make America wealth through hard work. They want it for nothing. But anyway, this was a short lesson on tariffs and how we should back tariffs all the way. and make China and Japan and England and Europe, France, and all of them pay for the privilege of selling products here in the United States. Because our market is one of the best markets in the world because we have pocket money. But anyway, this is your Hillbilly Historian trying to bring you some learning. I learn you through my speaking. So you've learned today about a little bit about tariffs from your Hillbilly Historian from the hills of East Tennessee here in Appalachia. You have a great day.